Well, I'm sick again. I almost never get sick, but somehow this is twice in the last 6 weeks, so bear with my voice if it cuts out, but take my apparent failing health as a metaphor for the overall political health of this country, because there's yet another case of a rabid lefty attacking Trump supporters with media crickets in response. In downtown Los Gatos, California, a wealthy Bay Area suburb, a Trump-supporting man set up a sidewalk table with literature and promotional material. I don't know exactly what he was saying or promoting, but throughout the footage of the incident, he stays mostly quiet. It just looks like he's exercising his constitutional right to discuss what he views as a British coup against Trump and to urge people to defend the president. There's not a lot of back information or context available here, so it's either pure unrestrained Trump derangement syndrome or maybe some previous encounter helps to explain, but for whatever reason, Rachel Maddow's less talented older sister rolls up and parks right in front of the man's table, eager for a confrontation.
Don't engage with her, okay? I'm on the phone.
Here's for your feet.
I know.
Dear President, piece of shit. Nobody respects you. You have 37%, the lowest rating of any president ever in the United States.
Not that I was expecting some precise argument, but this claim did have me genuinely curious. Trump is no national hero, sure, but we've had some really unpopular presidents. Is Trump really the lowest? In Gallup's polling, Trump bottomed out at 35% approval in late 2017, but that's not even close to the bottom of the list. Nixon hit 24% approval just prior to his Watergate-prompted resignation. Truman was even worse, hitting 22% as the U.S. entered the Korean War. Carter was at 28% toward the end of his term. But if you think more recent presidents are a better comparison, both Bushes bottomed out worse than Trump, and Clinton and Obama were right there within the margin of error as well. In fact, out of the 14 presidents since and including FDR, Trump ranks only 8th for worst approval rating. That's right in the middle of the pack. His approval might not be great, but it's not an anomaly either.
The people have spoken. The people have spoken. They elected him. No, they didn't elect him. Russia elected him. 3 million more people voted for the other person.
Well, thanks for demonstrating exactly why we don't choose the president by running up the score in the Californian mental hospital. And if you can show that Putin actually changed votes, you need to make an urgent call to Adam Schiff or Jerry Nadler. They are really hurting for evidence these days.
You're over. You're all over. You're over.
That's over.
One is truth, the other is fiction. You decide which is stranger. This scene continues for some time. She shouts at the Mexican restaurant across the street.
They love you over there at a Mexican restaurant. You know they do.
Yes, we do. Woo! We love Pedro's.
Loves Mexicans.
She's finally getting it right.
I'm finally getting it right. They think Trump likes Mexicans.
Yeah, because you can't oppose illegal immigration without hating Mexicans. Personally, I'd be much more insulted by this lady who thinks that illegal immigrant and Mexican are the same thing. She sarcastically tells the group to go back to where they came from.
Go back to the country your family came from. Your hair's red, I think. Go back to Ireland. Go back to Ireland and go back to Mexico, wherever you come from.
But she never does mention where she's from. My guess is Greece, but that's just a hunch. Who knows? She calls the president a rapist and everyone there a rape supporter.
You think rape is okay? Yes, you do. Your president does it. Your president's a rapist.
Ironic, considering she's right about to become not an alleged, but a documented perpetrator of physical violence, but we'll get to that momentarily. She rips the Trump supporters as only caring about money.
You just devote a whole website to me telling you how ignorant you are.
I should. That's a great idea. You know, I could probably make a lot of money on it.
Oh, yes, that's all you think about, don't you?
All you think about is money, she says, as she poses with her Beamer in a city with a median income 3 times the national average. She nearly wanders into oncoming traffic on several occasions. I know we're all hoping for a bus, but the best we can get is a freaking smart car. Damn you, California! After about 7 minutes of this scene, her aggression escalates from spicy banter to physical violence. She's getting in her car, presumably leaving, when the camera catches her license plate, and the woman attacks the camera holder, claiming that the plate number is private information.
That's private.
Oh, my...
hey, that's private. No. One of the primary functions of a license plate is to identify those involved in crime, actually. That's why you can't obscure it. That's why it must be plainly visible in public. You'll notice that she immediately lies, too, yelling, "I never touched her," which, of course, is the entire reason that the phone is on the ground at all.
Self-defense. Help me, I never touched you.
You're full of shit, you liar.
I never touched you.
Filthy liar.
A local blog report says the group quickly put the attacking woman on the ground in self-defense, which would explain her screaming lies to onlookers in an attempt to victimize herself. Local NBC reporting says both women accused each other of assault, so both have been cited with alleged misdemeanor battery and were released by police. Let's hope the footage clears up that nonsense. And while we're applying justice, can we get her a ticket for her illegal parking too? Let her plead virtue in traffic court, and let's see how that goes. Anyway, this coverage from NBC gives a wildly unfair impression of mutual fault. Political analyst Larry Gersten says the exchange reflects a polarized nation. No, it doesn't. This isn't a story of two divergent sides looking to fight each other. It's a story of one deranged side who won't let the other exercise its rights peacefully. The interaction between the two is unfortunate because as bad as she was, the others were goading her, and it just leads to trouble. Give me the timestamp in the video that shows this goading. There was no goading. In fact, everyone there was quiet relative to this one crazy lady, and what prompted the violence was nonverbal entirely, just video recording. And there's another layer of important information as well, because now this woman's identity is out. She's Margot Rosen, and we now know how she made her Beamer money. Off the extorted public dime. She's a former district director, a senior level staff position, for Congresswoman Jackie Speer, who represents a neighboring district. Rosen has worked in California state politics as well. I'm not in the business of demanding disavowal, but I am in the business of demanding fair and consistent standards. Reverse the politics of this episode for a moment. Let's say that a handful of Kamala Harris supporters are out promoting her campaign on the Los Gatos sidewalk. And let's say that a MAGA hat henchman rolls up in his big pickup truck with Betsy Ross and Gadsden flag stickers, and he hops out of the truck and he makes inflammatory statements about those campaigners, and he makes inflammatory statements about the candidate, and then when those Kamala Harris supporters film him, he physically attacks them and then falsely claims to have been a victim himself. Do you think this story from NBC reads the same in that scenario? That it's just regrettable mutual aggression, and the goading of the victims is just as important as the violent aggression itself. What do you think Donald Trump's next press conference would be like? How many demands for condemnation would there be? And would these journalists ever be satisfied even if he did condemn? Do you think this story might get some mention in national news rather than a shrug and total silence? If Jussie Smollett is a story, then this is a story. If Covington is a story, then this is a story. But since it's not, I need to hear an explanation why it's not. Does politically or prejudicially motivated harassment make a story? If so, why are you missing this one? Does politically or prejudicially motivated violence make a story? If so, why are you missing this one? Does violence connected to a politician currently sitting in office make a story? If so, why are you missing this one? Let alone the demonstrated truth in this case for months. It was nonstop reporting on similar claims that actually didn't even happen, at least as reported. This one is clearly observable on video, but none of the leading reporters on those stories care about this one at all. The only standard that differentiates those stories from this one is the team. If it's only a story when their team is abusive, and it's not a story when yours is, you're not a reporter. You're a propagandist. But hey, I'm sure your party bosses will thank you for it. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel always. Appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christensen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.